What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. I got a fantasy matchup for you guys. Something I haven't done in a while, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start doing these again. But this one between two former heavyweight champions, Sonny Liston and Larry Holmes. Um, Overall, this is a really good matchup. That was suggested to me. Something that I'm actually surprised that I've never done. Um, but but what you get in this matchup is you get two skilled fighters, two skilled former heavyweight champions against one another. Um, Sonny Liston, big big fighter, fought very big, a lot of strength, a lot of power, very long jab. I think he had like an 84-inch reach. Um, Knew how to step forward, knew how to fight big, knew how to use that size and utilize it. But he did have trouble against fighters that moved, like Ali. And sometimes he did get caught, like against Leotis Martin when he just got caught all of a sudden, just caught like right in the middle. But overall, Sonny Liston was a solid fighter. One of the strongest, one of the best punchers along the level of a Foreman and Ernie Shavers. Tremendous puncher, and he's on that level. I think that Liston might be a little bit above, would probably be above Foreman, around Shavers, because all the heavyweights of a golden era of heavyweights have said that Ernie Shavers is probably the hardest punch that they face. But then again, these are guys who haven't fought Liston, and Ali fought Liston, but Liston didn't really catch him, all too much. But and we all know about the Phantom Punch in the second match. But anyway, that's a different story. But the Sonny Liston jab is probably, to me, I think one of the most underrated jabs in heavyweight boxing. Because if you look at the jab, that jab landed. Even if it didn't land on the chin, it still landed. It still had an effect when it landed. Like you could be standing kind of in that turtle shell, and basically it would still land because the arms would go back into the face and have the same effect as the punches. So Sonny Liston, he had a very underrated jab. Came forward with the jab, used to set up a lot of punches. Hell, I think he could have knocked a lot of guys out with the jab. And that just goes as far as many generations. He could have knocked out a few heavyweights out with just off of that jab alone, similar to Vladimir Klitschko. But Sonny Liston, overall, the jab did set up the left hook and the right hook to the body. Every now and again, he would throw kind of an overhand right, but that jab, usually, it set up a nice power shot. And sometimes he didn't really have to set up anything with the jab. He just threw the jab, and maybe and look for kind of an opening, just based on the jab. But Sonny Liston was a really good heavyweight fighter. Um, Before Ali, a lot of people thought that he would have had the reign that a lot of people thought that George Foreman was supposed to have after he beat Smoking Joe, but he didn't have faced just like Foreman faced Muhammad Ali and lost the championship. Larry Holmes, on the other hand, was a guy who came up at a time where all the older heavyweights like the Ken Nortons, the Muhammad Ali's, the Ernie Shavers, the Jerry Quarries, and George Chuvalo's and George Foreman's were all kind of just leaving the sport, just edging out. And Holmes did face Ernie Shavers and Ken Norton. He never faced Frazier, but he did face like I said, he faced Shavers and he faced Norton. And the fight with Norton is one of my all-time favorites. I actually really enjoy that fight. Enjoy watching the fight. But overall, Larry Holmes had a very successful reign. He was on his way to breaking Rocky Marciano's record until he lost to Michael Spinks in 1985. I want to say in 1985 when he and in that IBF heavyweight showdown when the IBF was first created. I think it was either 85 or 86 on one of those years, but I'm kind of leaning towards 85. But Larry Holmes, overall was another guy who was very skilled, but I don't think he got enough the credit that he deserved as a fighter. He was in some tough fights. He continuously defended that belt, and he was just skilled. He moved, he jabbed a lot. He was actually Muhammad Ali's sparring partner. I think he broke Muhammad Ali's jaw in sparring, if I'm not mistaken. But Larry Holmes was fire. And a lot of his stuff was dictated off his jab. He could stand back and just jab all night and move. He could just do those two things alone: jab all night and move. Sometimes we get the occasional straight right hand, occasional right hook. Sometimes the hook off the jab. I think Larry Holmes was very good at just wearing fighters down with the jab, just beating them the fuck up with the jab, basically. Beating them with the jab, beating them to the punch, moving, getting out of the way. He used his legs a lot to get out of range, and fighters really couldn't unload on him because he just got out of range using his legs. Rolled the shoulders a little bit, moved the shoulders. I wouldn't say roll them, but he moved the shoulders. And everything was just based on off that jab. Very very effective jab. Very lethal. Sometimes through the left uppercut every now and again. But in this fight, because I've just explained both fighters, in this fight, this one's kind of tricky. Both fighters use the jab. They use the jab quite well. And Larry Holmes, tended to move clockwise. He tended to move clockwise and use his jab, and you set stuff up off of it. And Liston did have trouble against the young Ali, who was a mover, didn't stand and fight with him. But Holmes is not the mover Ali was. He didn't have the fluid movement of a young Muhammad Ali. But Larry Holmes, though, he made up for it by beating you to the jab and using the jab to set up his movement or set up his big shots up top, and pretty much everything was right up the middle with Larry Holmes. Left jab, straight right hand, right hook. But the thing is, Larry Holmes did have a tendency to stand in front of his opponents. When he wasn't jabbing, he would stand in front of the opponents. Sonny Liston, did well with fighters who stood in front of him. And Holmes won't necessarily stand in front of him, but Liston has enough range on that jab to just land it from the outside and keep Holmes at bay with that jab. So me, in this fantasy matchup, I'm going to go with Sonny Liston. I think Sonny Liston could take it by maybe a 13th, 14th round knockout. So me, I'm going to go with Liston in this one, 13th, 14th round knockout. But anyway, guys, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.